Welcome to Inside the Music. Today we are speaking with Ralphie from This Flight Tonight.
You got that right. Well done.
Thank you, thank you.
How are you, Alex?
I'm good, how are you?
Very good.
Yeah? Alright, so tell us about your band. You've been going since around, what, 2009?
2009? Yeah, I think so. Official record, first record came out 2012, which was Friendly Fire. And yeah, things have been going on there. I'm sort of like the songwriter behind the project. I'm sort of like the Steven Spielberg guy, you know.
Yeah.
So writing the songs, and then a band comes and appears every now and then for shows, and got some awesome musicians working with me in studio. So, yeah.
So the band that you work with, is it usually the same people? Does it switch
No,
around?
not at all. It's actually just been me as a songwriting outlet for myself.
Yep.
Except I didn't want to call it, Ralphie, because that would just be boring. I kind of wanted a theme behind it. So sort of like you're telling a story with your songs. So This Flight Tonight is based on the emotions you get when you're at the airport, sitting at the departure lounge as you board the flight. So yeah, that's kind of stuck with me since. So kind of kept the name since.
Interesting choice of theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite a different one. So you've had quite a few EP releases.
Yes.
So that's quite prolific, I suppose you could say. How often are you trying to create music? Is it a constant thing for you?
Yeah, I've got my own recording studio, which is a bit of a blessing. And I've studied audio engineering, so essentially writing all the time, and when there's enough songs, you're trying to release it. But historically, I've been sort of releasing one every 2 years. Yeah, if I'm feeling super inspired, maybe once a year. But yeah, I definitely write all the time, and I try and cut it down to the best songs before releasing something, and try and have a theme with the EP if all the songs go together, that sort of thing. So, but definitely in the background, behind the scenes, writing all the time.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, expect a release every 1 or 2 years. Long story is. Yeah.
So, with the different band members, do they contribute at all to the songwriting?
Yeah, they do. So we're all, whenever I get songwriters joining the project, we do everything legit, so make sure everyone's an APRA songwriter, so we, for royalties and things like that.
Yep.
So for example, I've had songwriters work with me in the past who don't work with me now because they've moved overseas or something. But thanks to APRA royalties and things like that, I still register my set and they still get a cut.
Yeah.
So the main thing for us as a project to survive and thrive is really just to play shows, because that's where it's at. And so yeah, I've had some really cool songwriters in the past. Probably the most prolific is a guitarist that's in a band called The Temper Trap.
Yep.
They wrote Sweet Disposition, and so the guitarist contributed on one of my records. And I got that because through a hookup, a musician I was playing with in London, he's the roadie for them.
Yep.
So I think they were just bored sitting in a hotel in Melbourne, and they had their laptop and sound card, and I had my tune, and yeah, he just sort of played a guitar riff in his Melbourne hotel while he's with the Temper Trap. And so yeah, they're cool lads. I actually got to meet them. My mate invited me backstage at a London gig, so I got to meet them, and yeah, they're really cool, really down to earth people.
So have you guys, I suppose done much overseas?
I lived in London for about 1.5 years, so other than that, not really. And I've got family in Australia, so for example, I try and visit my mum once a year or during my birthday month and sort of treat myself, and then I sort of do gigs while I'm there, obviously. Yeah. Got a couch to sort of sleep on while I'm there. London, I definitely was part of that scene big time for about 1.5 years. We actually did an awesome, one of the best experiences was we did a Kiwi festival at Boston Park or something to a couple of thousand of people. So yeah, I Am Giant was playing, Tahuna Breaks was playing, and then we got on. So it was really cool. It was a really cool festival, and as many musicians know, like festivals, especially for a small Kiwi musician such as myself, they definitely don't come often. So it was such a cool experience, and I was really grateful to have that experience and share the stage with some really cool Kiwi acts. And yeah, so that was a really awesome thing to have happen back in London. Yeah.
So, describe your style of music, I suppose, in the group.
Style of music? It sort of has progressed throughout the EPs. So I've always been a fan of sort of making rock music quite dynamic in terms of having really soft parts and then it just kicks in. So to sum it up, I would say 90s tinged rock. But yeah, I try and sort of experiment a little bit. One of the EPs was really laid back acoustic, sort of just me on a piano and guitar and sort of that whole jazz and Mraz style thing. So yeah, I don't know, I don't like to stick to genres because I like to experiment. I think that's what keeps it interesting. But the main thing I try and do is if I do release a record, there's got to be some consistency within that record. So yeah, to sum it up, I would just say some dude playing pop rock songs. Yeah, so it's good fun though. It's a good outlet. Yeah.
Because I did seem to remember you did an EDM project or something.
Yeah. Before this whole rock saga, I was really into DJing. You know, like going to those raves and DJing house music myself. I had a residency at this pool hall in Newmarket for like 2 years and just playing house. So I do dabble in electronic music and producing, but I wouldn't highlight the fact that I do because there's so many other better people that do that style. Like it's just me experimenting. Definitely, I wouldn't say I'm any good at EDM, but it's still fun to experiment. I've got a whole rack of synths at home that obviously half the time can't fit into a rock song. So yeah, it's just me. It's just me experimenting, but I try not highlight that because I'm not the EDM guy really. I'm sort of more the been known to be more the songwriter kind of guy in terms of
do you think
what I'm more known for.
Do you think it helps at all, like liking different varieties with your style of music?
I definitely think so because, like, as a musician, I would similar to someone who specializes in other fields, like maybe a chef or something. Like, you wouldn't really want to. I mean, you might be really known for a certain style of dish, but you definitely kind of still need to experiment because sometimes I find, like, especially with the rock stuff, I do find that if I've experimented enough with, like, say, synths or EDM sort of producing, it can sort of sneak in sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, I honestly, anyone that's doing this or wanting to do this sort of thing, I wouldn't want to box a person to just try one thing. Because for me, like as a musician, I listen to all sorts of records as well. So I'm inspired by anyone and everyone. The main thing really for me though, to kind of catch me onto a tune, if I'm liking other music, it'll be like a good melody and a good beat. So if anything, if the whole EDM experimentation, if anything, that's taught me with rock is sort of how to build a song and then sort of drop it back down, like you were in a rave. Those sort of elements in rock. So yeah, it's really good to experiment.
So do you prefer certain songs rather than certain artists, sort of thing? If you're looking at
I think so,
concept?
especially with this whole sort of single-driven generation that we've come across. I mean, like there's the really iconic albums that I grew up with, like OK Computer by Radiohead, which I absolutely love, and I still love album artists. But now, because I play out a lot doing covers and things like that, so I wouldn't necessarily sing 10 songs by Radiohead, for example. I'm known to sort of just pick the best of the best, and so in terms of my listening habits, I think nowadays, like most people, it's definitely single driven.
So how did you get into music?
Into music? I mean, I grew up in Mount Eden, and I had a piano teacher. Drink that beer, by the way, it looks delish.
Refreshing.
Let's have a moment. I had a piano teacher that lived next door, and it all stemmed from doing piano lessons. And Actually, as I got older, though, I really enjoy guitar. One, you don't have to be as good on guitar to kind of rock it out and play live. And piano is such a technical instrument, like you've got to get everything right. And I respect people that are sort of concert pianists because it's the hardest instrument ever. But it's a really good backbone in terms of songwriting and everything like that, to transition, knowledge for piano to other instruments. I definitely enjoy guitar a lot more these days. So yeah, especially if you can learn a song by someone you like and just rock out on that. So yeah.
So with the piano, was it doing the exams, going through the grades, or was it just learning the tracks?
I did do sort of like the Alfred's course or whatever, sort of classical piano thing. Never went to uni for piano. I actually went to uni for audio engineering out of all things, so I'm that guy. We've got a really cool YouTube show series called musicstudios.co.nz.
Yeah.
Check it out. We visit studios around New Zealand, so that's a really cool project. But yeah, I digress. What was the question?
I was asking what sort of things did you do with the piano?
What sort of things did I do with piano?
How did you learn?
Pardon?
How did you learn?
Through a teacher next door. And I did do like music throughout high school and things like that. Bursary music, did all that. So I mean, I still play piano, don't get me wrong. But yeah, in terms of just songwriting and things like that, just love the guitar. So yeah. It's good in terms of piano, like theory. It's like chords and extensions of chords and things like that.
Yep.
Finding the root notes, all that sort of thing. It's good to have that sort of theory, even if I'm playing guitar, I can sort of, for me, guitar is weird because it's very pattern based.
Yeah.
Like you can just memorize a pattern and things like that. But knowing those piano sort of tools is really helpful because you can kind of deviate a little bit with guitar. Yeah. If that makes sense.
So you've mentioned the single-driven way that the music industry works these days.
Yeah.
How do you work with the online system? I see on your webpage you can listen to all the songs for free.
Yeah.
They're still available to download. Like,
for me, I like to rebel. So if I see there's a popular way of doing something, I try and kind of stick out and do it differently. Like for example, a lot of people tell you, get your tunes on Spotify because Spotify is where it's at. I've had a few music managers tell me, like streaming is the way. But like for me, for my music, none of my stuff is on Spotify. I used to be with a label who put it on Spotify, but as soon as that contract ended, I took everything down because I just wanted to do everything differently. I wanted to be sort of like connect with my audience directly, whether it's just one guy in the Netherlands, which is, by the way, true. There's a guy that does a podcast in the Netherlands who promotes the heck out of our music, which is awesome. Just connecting directly. So anyways, I love Bandcamp as a platform because you can still get the app for Bandcamp and you can still stream stuff. But I think what happens is if you stream it enough times, you can tell someone to, hey, purchase our music if you like it. And if you don't, they even have like this little love heart emoticon sort of like kind of break if you don't like just pull the emotional strings there. But yeah, I just like Bandcamp because like for example, if someone buys the single there, they have a small cut, but it goes direct to my account. So it's really that whole like direct to artist thing that I really like. And but yeah, I don't think you'll see our music on Spotify or anything like that, or the usual outlets. iTunes is another one that you won't see our music because I just feel like gotta try. Maybe if there's a popular way of doing something, just don't always follow the crowd, So that's just my way of thinking, anyways. So.
But you still get some reasonable traction with it. Didn't you get a shout out for one of your albums? Was it Chris Martin? Yeah,
Chris Martin from Coldplay, which is really weird. They were plugging one of their albums, so kudos to them. I can't remember which album it was. But for a while on their website, they had this thing called the Hypno feed. I don't know if you remember that, where they would feature one link as part of this hypno feed thing. It could be anything. It wasn't necessarily music, but it was like something arty or something that the band liked. And I remember it was just one of those, I guess, competition things or whatever, that they're like, hey, submit your link. If we like it, we'll do this. And I think they only ran it for a few weeks, but yeah, for one of the days, our video Friendly Fire was on there, which is an animation video, which is kind of cool, which is awesome because that actually exposed our music quite a bit. But at the same time as well, because I was following that hypno feed, and there were some other bands that I discovered through that, which I really like now. So it wasn't just us being exposed, it was all these other cool things that I got exposed to myself. So, but yeah, it's definitely cool, and I can definitely slightly brag about it and be like, yeah, because we were on their website, which was awesome. So yeah.
So was it the 5th anniversary of that one?
Yeah, 5th anniversary of Friendly Fire. So that was originally 5 years ago, hence 5th anniversary.
That's usually how it works.
So yeah, we're actually doing a show at Portland Public House on the 23rd November 2017. It's free entry. We're playing with Jeff Ong and his full band, as well as Kindred Vice at the Portland Public House. So yeah, if you're in Auckland, that's going to be fun, because the band doesn't come out often, so it's really exciting when it does. So yeah, we're doing that.
All right.
Just to celebrate, the fact that it's 5 years of Friendly Fire, and
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
All right. So you've got a performance for us today, have you?
Yeah. I thought I'd perform a bit of a song for you guys. Awesome.
Do we have any words behind the song's choices? Or?
Yeah. Today I think I might play Lately. Speaking of Temper Trap, this is the one that had the guitarist feature in it. Now I don't have his awesome licks or anything, so I will simplify everything. I'm not the best guitarist in the world, but I've got a little loop pedal that I've brought in as well, so
all right,
might play that.
Let's give it a go.
Cool.
All right, sweet. Today we've got Ralphe from This Flight Tonight playing Lately.
Cool. Thanksmusic.net.nz. You've been acting like a child. Lately, you make me go out. On a cruisy day, you're barely okay. I see you on a bad trip over space. Keep on hitting rewind. Mute so you can't speak, close my ears once more. You ain't been spoken for. I prefer you refrain from speaking no more. Acting like a little kid in a candy store. It only takes a little lick to make it yours. Lately, you've been acting like a child. Lately, you make me go out. Stature I regain. Please refrain from speaking to me ever again. I've had enough of your avalanche and your pain. You're hitting like a bad drug that you never irate. Keep on hitting rewind. Beat you so you can't speak, I'm closing my ears. Once more, the way you've been spoken for. Hate you, baby, but I'm crazy for some more. Lately, you've been acting like a child.
Hey, this is Ralphie. Welcome to the music.net.nz sessions. It's an original song and it's a new one. Know This Feeling. Fire in the belly of a monster, monster. Shadow of a silhouette of her will haunt you. Every other body there's a demon, demon. Second guess your inhibition will undo you both. Choking in the fumes of the city, city. Choking in the visions of the music. Big running, running, running till your walls fall down, till you run yourself out and you run yourself down. I know this feeling. I've been here before. I know this feeling, 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 feeling. I know this feeling. I've been here before. I know this feeling, feeling till you run yourself out. Yes, you run yourself out and you run yourself down. Yes, you run yourself out and you run yourself down. And I'm running, 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 run yourself down. Yeah. Fire in the belly of a disco, disco. Whiskey can whistle at my feet. I will be deciding where and when I go, and you won't be there, no. You won't be there, no. I know this feeling. I've been here before. I know this feeling, 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 feeling. I know this feeling. I've been here before. I know this feeling, feeling till you run yourself out. Yes, you run yourself out.